Hey everybody, my name's Commander Eagle131, and I'd like to show off my Constellation Ark-Class Expedition Cruiser. I designed the Ark-Class with the roleplay explorer in mind, with a little bit of my own headcanon written around the ship. It's a very large exploration ship, designed and commissioned by Constellation, seeing an immediate need to replace their very small and aging Discovery-class starship. This ship features pretty much everything that you would expect a long-term expedition ship to have. It's got a sick bay, it's got research lab, it's got all of it. I even threw in a battle stations hab in the interior that kinda, in my mind, I like to think of it as a flag bridge, so that Constellation leadership can still manage the organization while out in the field. The Ark has a front-mounted grav drive, and I placed it there on purpose so you could observe the armillary if you choose to build it on your ship from the laboratory hab right behind it. There is a porthole, and headcanon-wise, I think of that lab as being a general-purpose research lab while doubling as an armillary monitoring facility. Due to the nature of this being mostly a roleplay ship, the Hab placement and the Hab selection are equally as important as the exterior design in my personal opinion. So with that in mind, I will be giving a brief interior tour towards the end of the video, so if you're not interested in heading off into the builder, you can go ahead and skip to that section right now. Before we head off into the builder, quick disclaimer. This will not be a ship builder tool tutorial, this will be a ship build tutorial. So I'll be showing you how to build this specific ship. The Ark is an endgame exploration ship, so you'll need rank 4 ship designs and piloting, and level 60 or above to build to exacting specifications. You'll be able to build the ship without it, but your mileage may vary based on level and skill ranks. And last, the ship relies on some very light glitch building, the flip glitch to be exact, so I'll show you how to do that if you don't know how to do that already. And don't worry, it won't mess up your achievements or anything like that. We're almost ready to head off into the builder, but first we need to pick up some Staryard specific modules, so let's head on to Deimos Staryards in the Sol system first. We're going to get one DS40.2 Ares bridge, and one 2x3 cargo hull. Next, at the Nova Galactic vendor at New Homestead, we're going to pick up one 2x2 living quarters, one 2x2 battle stations, and 5 NG-20 landing gear. Next, we're going to head to Freestar Collective Space. Anywhere that's got a ship technician, we're going to need 4 Slayton SA-4330 engines. You can choose whatever engines you like. These are A-class engines on a C-class vessel. I chose them for the shape. I also like to feel like I'm flying a big ship, so if that's not your jam, try to find you some more powerful engines. Next, we're going to head to the Crimson Fleet in the Crix system. We're going to need 4 conduction grids and 2 comm spikes. A note about those modules, they are optional because they're locked behind the Crimson Fleet faction questline. I threw them on there so you can return to a specific location. If you know, then you know. Alright, let's head off into the builder. Alright, here we are in the builder, and I've got everything kind of exploded out as always. Right here, you can see this is our Habs layout. Over here, what I like to call the big pile of stuff. These are all the structural bits, cargo modules, and other things that lend to the ship's overall profile and shape. The windows get their own pile over here. Here's all of our landing gear. There's a lot of them. Here's our main engines. Here's our sort of main modules. Right here, I have this separated. This is the Grav Drive Bay. It'll make sense once we start assembling everything. It gets its own little section here. And then over here is our pile of hardpoints. Alright, to start with the building, we'll begin with the Hab placement. I normally have this exploded out, and we will get to that momentarily, but I wanted to provide some commentary before we start building, so if you decide to build along with me, you kind of know what you're doing here. So I left this together. This is the floor plan right here. I have it split into two sections, front and rear, with all floors in the front being accessible by this one stack of 1x1s here, and most of the rear halves being accessible by the rear stack of 1x1s. And I've achieved that by the one simple rule that I follow. The Starfield ship builder system seems to prioritize placing ladders and doors in 1x1s over any of the other tabs. So with that in mind, you can take these stacks of 1x1s if you're building a multi-deck ship and have all floors be accessible by one stack of 1x1s. It keeps things really, really simple. The second you see a ladder, you should know exactly where you are in the ship, and you know where to go. When I build any ship with multiple decks, I follow that rule. A 1x1 stack goes up and it accesses all floors just to keep things simple. So as you can see, I have two stacks. I played around with the idea of having two separate sections of the ship being accessible by two different ladder wells, and for the most part, it worked flawlessly with this ship. All modules here in the front accessible by the middle stack. Most modules in the back accessible by the rear stack. I had some trouble with this 2x2 living quarter. The system just absolutely refused to place a door in the back here, instead always wanting to place one here in the front. And honestly, that's okay. A lot of the crew support modules are up front anyway, so it works out in the end. In fact, these 2x2s, 2x3s, the large, more uncommon Habs, do tend to mess up expected behavior with ladder and door placement. I don't know if that's intended behavior, or if it's a bug, or if the system, it just confuses the priority system for placing doors and ladders. I'm not sure how that works, but that's just something that shipbuilders have to kind of work around. Alright, here's all of our Habs exploded. We're ready to start placing our Habs down. To begin, let's start with our pathway from the exit points to the bridge. So tab on over to your bays and grab a Stability Pro landing bay from Stroud. We'll start with that. Paging back over to your Habs section, we're going to grab a Nova Galactic storeroom, and we're going to place it there. Find your Deimos 2x3 cargo hull. We attach it to the 1x1 on the middle attachment point here. Like so. Let's form our aft ladder well. You're going to need 5 1x1s of your choosing. And that gets fixed to the central attachment point on the cargo hull. Okay. We're going to take our Deimos bridge, and that gets stuck on to the top 1x1, like so. And page on over to your dockers. We're going to use the slim docker bottom, and that gets placed on this 1x1 right here, next to the landing bay. Just make sure that's attached. Yep. Okay. And there's our basic pathway from exit points to the bridge. Alright, so let's start with placing all of the other Habs now. We'll begin placing our front section's ladder well. So grab 3 1x1s from Nova Galactic of your choosing. Okay, in my case I use the storerooms. We're going to place them on top of the entry point storeroom. 3 of them. Just like that. Okay. So let's place everything that needs to go in the aft section first. Tap over to your Habs. We're going to place a Nova Galactic all-in-one berth B on top of our cargo hull, like that. And then right next to it goes our Nova Galactic living quarters, like so. Right above that goes our battle stations, like that. Next to the battle stations goes a Nova Galactic control station. Like so. And then right underneath the bridge goes a Nova Galactic all-in-one berth A. Okay, so that's the aft section completed. Let's go ahead and move on to the front. So starting on the first deck, we are going to have a Nova Galactic armory attached to our 1x1 entry point here. And then on either side of the armory, we're going to have one armory on this side, then a Nova Galactic workshop on the other side. Moving to the front attachment point of this center armory, we're going to move a galactic control station, like so. Okay, let's go ahead and move up one level. Our Nova Galactic infirmary gets attached to the second deck on this 1x1 here. And that will be it for the second deck. Moving up to the third deck, we're going to put a Nova Galactic Science Lab right here. And then moving on up to our top deck goes the Captain's Quarters. And there we have it. That is our completely assembled floor plan, Habs layout, whatever you want to call it. Congratulations, you made it this far. Okay, with all that said, we're ready to move on to the rest of the building. If you'd like, you can skip to the end of the video here using the chapters. I will be doing a brief interior tour, as I mentioned before, so go ahead and skip there if you're interested in seeing the interior. If not, let's go ahead and move on to the big pile of stuff. Alright, so we'll work our way from the top down and from the back forward. There's a few items we're going to have to do a little bit out of order, but I'm going to try to do this as organized as possible. Okay, so let me start by moving all of this stuff a little bit closer. Okay, so head into your Structurals tab. We're going to begin with placing this Nova Galactic cowling and flip it backwards. And that's going to go on the very top of the ladder well 1x1. Okay. Next, let's move over to the tops of these Habs here. We're going to be using 3 Nova Radiator tops. And they just get placed on top of those Habs like so. And that back one fits nice and snug underneath the bridge. Let's move our way on back. Focus on this point on your 1x1, second from the top. We're going to be placing 2 of these Stroud cowlings. It's the ones with a lot of flippable options, and they are going to be the ones with hardpoint attachments. So not these variants with no hardpoints. We're going to be using these with the stripes and the hardpoints. Like that. Okay. Tab on over to your cargo hold section. We're going to be using 4 of these 30T haulers. Make sure you got them flipped in the correct orientations. These lend to the contour of the top of the ship, 2 per side, directly in front of our Stroud cowlings with the hard points. So 2 per side, just like that. Okay. Okay, next, go back to your structural section. We will be using 6 of these Stroud cowlings, port and starboard, top variants. So 3 per side. Just like that. We are going to skip the top of this nose section because the Grav Drive compartment is underneath there, so we don't really want to start closing that off yet, so we're probably going to do this somewhere near the end here. Let's go ahead and go back to the rear of the ship and then one more level down. So underneath these Stroud cowlings with the hardpoint attachment, we're going to be using 2 Stroud cowlings, the port and starboard variant bottoms, underneath that cowling with the hardpoint, like so. Moving forward onto this attachment point here, go on over to your fuel tanks tab. We're going to be using 2 of these M40 helium-3 tanks, the half cylindrical ones. And we're going to be putting both of them on there just like that, 1 per side. So tab back over to your structural, find 2 Nova braking engine port and starboard, and that just gets fixed to the sides right in front of those helium-3 tanks we just placed. Okay? So inside of this little cave here, find yourself 2 Tayo end cap port and starboard, and they're going to be the ones that look like these intakes. So you're going to put one here inside that little chasm, whatever you want to call it, one per side, like so. Okay. We're going to skip these Hope Tech pipes for now because the attachment point's only on the bottom, so we'll just skip all that for now. So let's go ahead and move on to the back of the ship again. One more level down. We've got these Stroud nose caps, starboard and port, aft variants, and we're going to flip them upside down. And they are both going to go underneath these Stroud cowlings, like so. One per side. So filling in the middle here in this gap goes a Tayo aft bottom cowling, flipped upside down. Like that. Okay. So there's our completed shelf where all of those, the engines and all that stuff sits on. Alright. So let's move around to the side of the ship again. Back inside this cave here, underneath our Tayo end caps here, we're going to be using 6 more Stroud cowlings. And they're going to be flipped to be the port and starboard bottom variants. So 3 per side. So 3 underneath like so, inside the cave. And 3 more on the other side. Like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and move back up one more level. It's time to place our Hope Tech pipes. So we're going to need 4 Hope Tech pipes A mid. 2 per side. And they're going to go in front of our Tayo end cap on either side. Like so. Okay. So let's focus on these 2 points right here on those cowlings we placed just a little bit ago. Find 2 Stroud nose cap C's. We're going to need the port and starboard 4 variants. 1 per side, and they're going to get fixed just like that. Okay. Moving up one more level, find yourself 2 Stroud nose cap D's, port and starboard 4 variants, and they get hit on top of those nose cap C's we just placed, like so. Okay, let us move on to the Grav Drive portion. So tab on over to your Grav Drives. We're going to be using this J51 Gamma Grav Drive. And we're going to put that right on front, like so, mounted in this little shelf here, okay, on top of our control station. Tab on over to your structural. We're going to be taking a Deimos hull A, and that's going to go inside right there on top of the Nova Galactic control station. Grab yourself a porthole, and the porthole is going to get fixed to the front attachment point of our Nova Galactic Science Lab. Next, we're going to be using these Tayo side cap Bs. It's the ones with the hardpoint attachments. We're going to take our Tayo side cap Bs and put them on either side of our Stroud nose caps. Like so. Okay. See how this compartment's kind of coming together. So we're going to take these, if you can place these, the PB300 alpha beams, we're going to be sticking them on either side like that, mounted to our Tayo side caps. So these double as actual weapons that actually do stuff. It can shoot through this. Don't ask how. But when you're viewing it from inside there, it looks kind of neat. It gives you tunnel vision down to the armillary. Okay, so we're ready to close this whole entire section off. So we're going to have to do a little bit of glitch building to achieve this. Go on over to your structural tab, find Tayo forward sensors. Okay. They just get normally placed right here. Find yourself a Hope Tech Cap A and flip it aft. And that goes on top of the Grav Drive. Now for the glitch build, take 2 Stroud Cap A's, starboard 4 and top. Now you have to place these inside the builder first, or else this won't work. So they have to be actually inside the builder space. So take one. We want to put it here. Obviously that's not going to work because it's colliding with the tile forward sensors. So just take this piece, make sure it plays the sound effect like it's trying to attach. Sound effect attached. And then flip it. Flip. Flip. And then move the mouse a little bit till it plays the attachment sound again. And then press whatever button that you have to press to cancel. And it'll attach it. So another time, do it again on the other side. So make sure the item's placed in the builder. Attach. Flip. 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 Sound effect. Cancel. And there we go. We've just successfully glitch built these onto the nose of the ship. Let's just double click to make sure that those are attached properly. Yep, and we're good. Congratulations. If that was your first flip glitch build, congrats, you've done it. So to finish this off, let's go ahead and find 2 Hope Tech Nose B4s, and we're just going to place 2 of them to kind of cap off that grav drive so we don't have so much of it being exposed. Congratulations, the bulk of the ship is now finished. Let's go ahead and move on to our engines, our reactor, and our shield. Okay, hit up your shields tab. We're going to be using this Assurance SG-1800 shield generator. That's going to go on top of our 1x1 stack here, like so. Okay. Let's go ahead and tab over to our reactors. We're going to be using this Pinch 8Z reactor, and that gets mounted right in the middle on the back side of the ship. Next, go ahead and tab on over to your engines tab. I chose these because they're some of the coolest looking engines, and also I wanted to feel like I was flying a really large ship, so the decreased maneuverability okay with me. So if you use these like I did, these are great because you can flip them. They are only available in Freestar Collective Space. The game's not very good at telling you that, so for the longest time I had no idea that these engines existed until a friend told me, and I'm in love with them. So we're going to be taking 4 of these engines. We're basically going to be using port and starboard top and bottom variants. Here's our port top variant and our port bottom variant. Both of those get stuck onto the side of the reactor. And just replicate that to the other side. Just like that. I just really like these because these mix in really, really nicely with the contour of all of these Stroud cowlings and the cargo holds. Just makes the ship look nice and sleek all the way up and down its sides. Alright, let us move on to our landing gear section. Alright, for the landing gear, we'll work our way from the front and work our way backwards. We'll have to do a little bit of glitch building at the very end to get these 2 landing gear in. So I'll save those for last. So grab 5 of your NG-20 landing gear. These are going to go up front. So let's go ahead and swing the camera around. Oh boy. Alright, so we're going to be using 2 NG-20 landing gear 4, 2 mid, and then 1 wide. The 2 4 obviously go up front, so we're going to be attaching them to the front part of our Stroud nose caps. Like so, 1 per side. And directly behind those go our mid variants, attached to the back anchor point on the Stroud nose cap. So let's go ahead and swing the camera back around. Our Nova Galactic wide gear goes inside of this empty space right here. It's not really needed. Originally I had a 1x1 there with a window so you could look out, but that wreaked havoc on the door and ladder placement, so I just deleted it and threw a wide landing gear in there instead. Okay, so let's move on. Go grab 4 of these Deimos 220 CB landing gear. Okay, we're going to be placing 2 per side directly underneath the Nova Galactic braking engine in the helium-3 tanks. And that's going to close in some of this ugliness from the exposed Habs. Close that off like so. And 2 on one side, 2 on the other. Like so. Okay, last but not least, we're going to be using 2 of these Pinpoint 3G aft landing gears. Now, I threw these on here. They're not needed either, but they look really cool because these 2 engines actually fire when the ship's flying. They're not real engines, but they do animate, and it looks really nice to have 2 little engines lit up underneath here. And it also closes in this gap really nicely. As you can see, the game won't let us place it there because I think this back thing sticks out too far and it collides with this cargo hull just a little bit. It doesn't clip inside the interior. So I'm not entirely sure why they don't allow us to do this. It's a little annoying, so thankfully we can glitch build it. So, as I mentioned before with the other glitch build, make sure you got both of these placed inside the builder space or else the glitch won't work. So go ahead and grab it, fix it to this point right here on that 1x1. Flip, flip. Hear the sound effect like it's placed, cancel. And double click to make sure it's attached. Yep. It's attached. And we're going to go ahead and do that on the other side. Double click. Oop! It's not attached. That's a good example of why you should always verify and listen for the sound effect. There we go. Yep, now it's attached. Excellent. So now you got all your landing gear attached. It's coming together. We are almost finished. Let's go ahead and get all these windows put on. Alright, we'll work our way from the top in the back and work our way forward. So we're going to be placing 2 portholes up here on this 1x1. So 2, 1 per side like that. Let's go ahead and move down to our workshop and our armory on the ground floor. Going to be using 4 portholes. Just like that. 2 per side. Alright, let's go ahead and focus on our control station right up front. 2 little portholes on either side like so. Like that. And a 4 porthole on the front. Like so. Let's go ahead and swing around to the back of the ship. We're going to be placing an aft porthole on this 1x1 between these 2 little landing gear engines. Okay. And last but not least, right here underneath the 1x1 here, we place a bottom porthole. Alright, that's it for the windows. Let's get on to the hardpoint placement. Before we get started, let me just give a disclaimer. All the weapons I've selected, it's just my personal choice. You don't have to stick with the same loadout I've stuck with. Alright, so for the hardpoints, let's start by placing our equipment plates and then our guns. So, under your structural, pick out 3 equipment plates. Let's move the ship a little closer so I don't have to... There we go. So 3 equipment plates. We're going to be placing 2 plates on top of our Stroud cowlings in the back here that have the hardpoint attachments. So 1 per side, like that. Okay. And then our 3rd equipment plate's getting placed on top of the tile forward sensors at the nose of the ship. Okay, now for the weapons. We're going to use 2 PB300 alpha beams on the back. So place 1 per side on top of our Stroud cowlings, like so. This particular weapon here is the Vanguard Obliterator. It's locked behind the Vanguard faction quest line. That's going to go up front. Okay. Next, attached to our Stroud Eklund nose cap Ds in this little channel here, we're going to place a PB300 alpha turret, 1 per side. Like so. Okay. And that's it for the weapons. Next are the Crimson Fleet modules, which I mentioned are optional. They're there. I don't want to spoil anything, but they are required to access a certain planet. There's not a whole lot going on there after the Crimson Fleet quest line, but it is really neat to return to that planet to kind of fly around in. If you don't have these and you try to return there, your ship will get blown up. So if you're not interested in having the Crimson Fleet modules, go ahead and just skip this part. So grab 4 of your comm spikes. Okay. 2 are getting fixed to the sides of the Nova cowling. Like so. Okay. And then the other 2 are just going to go up front on top of our Stroud nose caps. Like so. Next, our 2 comm spikes, they're just going fore and aft. So take 1 comm spike, goes on the back of our Nova cowling right there. And then the other comm spike goes at the very front on top of our Hope Tech cap. Alright, congratulations. You've got the entirety of the Ark-Class Expedition Cruiser fully assembled. So let's talk about coloring. Okay, so for the coloring, I admit I didn't actually put too terribly much thought into it. Originally, I kind of wanted to fulfill some of my Star Trek fantasies of being the captain of a big exploration ship. So the only real thought I put into it was kind of that flat gray that a lot of Starfleet vessels seem to have. Ironically speaking, also most of my builds have this same flat gray color anyway. So I guess that's really the only huge amount of thought that I put into it. I knew I did want lines, so this is a sleek, elongated ship. So these Stroud cowlings really are good at facilitating having nice leading lines that run the top deck of your ship. So, I mean, you can just see real quick. I painted, yeah, so there's that kind of neutral dark gray color as the primary color of the whole ship. And here's my accent lines. It's like I'm leaning more towards some shade of purple. Yeah, I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into the coloring of this ship. So color it however you like. There's a lot of opportunities here to do neat things with the coloring, I feel like, but I'm not a color master, and it often gets a little overwhelming for me, so I usually just give it a flat color and then kind of call it a day. So that's how I did mine. So now that we got her assembled and colored, let's go ahead and take a tour of the interior. Okay, here we are at my outpost, and there's the Ark-Class right beside me. Let's go into the landing bay. Now I sort of put this here on purpose, right in the middle of the ship, really so you can feel kind of a sense of scale as you're walking in. It's really, you can see how tall this thing is, and since it's in the middle, you know, you're kind of walking into the belly of the beast almost. So let's head on inside. So I'm not going to go into every single little detail. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the ladder placement and the door placement and some of the roleplay aspects of the Habs that I chose. So here we enter straight into the 4 sections ladder well. So all 4 section Habs are accessible by this ladder well here in the middle. So we're on the ground floor. Let's go forward. So we're entering into our double armory setup. So here's one armory, and here's the other. Why are there children hanging out inside of where we store our weapons? I'm gonna have to talk to her dad about that one. Okay, on the other side, here's our workshop. Again, I placed this conveniently to the landing zone. If you need to do business in here, you can just run right in and work on your spacesuit or your gun and then be back on your way real fast. I also really like these Nova Galactic workshops because this little cubicle over here is really, really cool. I don't know why, I just really like it. I'm gonna run to the very front of the ship. I want to show you the front section. Now this is just a Nova Galactic control station hab. There's nothing special about it in my opinion. It's just these windows that I placed here. It's here so you can have a nice view of the front area of your landing zone. Alright, that does it for deck 1 in the 4 sections. So let's go up 1 level. So back inside of our ladder well. Okay.
Talk to me, my dear friend.
So now we're on the second deck. We're looking aft. This is the 2x2 living quarter that I mentioned earlier that was not playing nice with me. The game just completely refused to put a doorway right here. But again, as you can see, it's not that big of a deal. I don't mind it so much. Now that we're in here, I can show this off. This is the Nova Galactic 2x2 living quarter, one of my favorite Habs of all time. If I have a big ship that's going to have a living quarters, it's always going to be this one. It's just my favorite one of all time. It's so warm and cozy in here. Love all the little accessories they've got. This corner is great. The little couches and the big screen TV. Love the lighting. It's warm in here. Now, I often do this on my larger ships. I'll either put a Nova Galactic B berth or a Nova Galactic living quarter 2x1 on the side of the 2x2 living quarters, and it's kind of like an extension of the main living area. Something cool I like to do. So let's go on to the third deck in the floor section. Okay, so we're looking to the front of the ship. This is the research station that has the unique feature that I engineered. This is the place where we can look out inside of the Grav Drive chamber, and there we can see the armillary spinning around and the really neat lighting effects that come with it. And this is our general purpose research lab. I like to think that this monitor here they're using to observe the armillary. It looks like what's a radiation pattern on the screen there. Who knows? Maybe the armillary gives off radiation of some kind. I would assume it would. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. So up on that top deck, nothing too special. I won't show that off. That's just the captain's quarters. So we're back down on the first level. Here is the Deimos cargo hull. The only non-Nova Galactic Hab on board. I chose it because I really like the way these storage racks look. And you know, the walkway is a little bit offset from the center, so you get a nice kind of big ship feeling. You're walking amongst all the cargo, you feel like you're packed up for a several week-long trip. It just made sense to put this down here. Okay, so here we are going into the aft ladder well. Here's our porthole out the back so we can see behind the ship on our landing zone. And floor porthole. In space it looks nice, you can look down below. And here we are inside a 1x1 Nova Galactic storeroom. Now, this is a good chance for me to go on a quick rant, because this has been bugging me since I started recording this clip. If you remember a few videos ago when I did the Freelancer Liberty Cruiser tutorial, I went on a long rant about why I don't use the Nova Galactic 1x1 storerooms anymore. Well, these plastic buckets on the stinking floor is the reason. When you bump this shelf, there's two buckets that sit there on the edge. If you bump it, they fly on the floor, and if you put whole stacks of these things in your ships like I do, over time you'll just have a giant pile of plastic buckets on the ground floor from you and your crewmates just kicking them around. So that was a compromise I made on this build. I like the overall aesthetic that the 1x1 storeroom brings over the companionway, so I decided to just throw them on here anyway and just deal with playing soccer with these plastic buckets every time I come home. So let's move up to the second floor. This is where the door for the 2x2 living quarters was supposed to go, but it didn't, so there's nothing on this floor in the back. Up to this third deck. Here's the flag bridge, as I call it. This is technically a 2x2 Nova Galactic battle stations hab. I'm calling it the flag bridge. This is where in my head I think that Constellation leadership can manage the organization while being out in the field. I know there's no faster than light communications in this game's universe, so just work with me on that one. Or don't. You don't have to. I don't care. I won't be offended. I really like this hab, though. This room's got slightly different aesthetics overall than the other side of the room. But, yeah, flag bridge. Let's move up one deck. This is a Nova Galactic 2x1 A berth. Wouldn't be an EG ship shop build without one. It's my favorite 2x1. I like to think of this as an extension of the flag bridge below and the navigation bridge above. So this can kind of be maybe like a break room for the officers, or I also like to think of it as a bit of a conference room where they can have meetings. This also has the really cool Nova Galactic unique research station built into the wall here, just like the one you get on the Frontier when you first start the game. So let's go ahead and move up to the top floor now. Let's go check out the navigation bridge. So this is a Deimos bridge, one of my favorite ones. I think it makes a lot of sense for explorers if you're building a really big exploration ship like this one. It's got a map table up here right in the center. The exterior look is a little bit aggressive for my liking for a ship of this, for this roleplay element, but it's a compromise I made. The interior is awesome. The views you get from the front, just, you know, it's just great views of your landing zone. The Cabot Bridge from Nova Galactic just can't provide these kinds of views. So we inspected the interior, everything looks good, everything checks out. We've got the ship painted and fully assembled, so I think she's space-worthy. So I'll see you in space.
Up and away.
I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was easy enough for you to follow, and enjoy your Constellation Ark-Class expedition cruiser. And I'll see you in the next one.